A vision for the future. Jaguars owner Shad Khan revealing plans for a covered practice facility, amphitheater, and club seats.
And both the east and the west sides of Everbank Field will offer our fans the best premium experience anywhere in the NFL.
Plus, a shooting not far from the Veterans Memorial Arena. The victim was inside a car.
Because we need to get these dirtbags off the street.
What the sheriff's office is revealing about this investigation.
News 4 Jax starts right now with a breaking news alert.
That breaking news alerts from the U.S. Coast Guard. They say the missing cargo ship El Faro sank in the teeth of Hurricane Joaquin. Scramble to find survivors continues right now.
The worst spot for any ship to be in is when you're disabled, you lost all propulsion. You have no means to move that vessel.
Coast Guard says the focus will remain on searching for survivors. More than 70,000 square miles, nautical square miles, were searched over the weekend. Now, during this afternoon's news conference, the Coast Guard said 46 survival suits were on board. Only a handful have been located. Crews did find the remains of one person in one of those survival suits. They call the person unidentifiable. A lifeboat was also found, but crews say there was no sign anyone was ever inside. Marcus White's at the Seafarers Union Hall on the south side, where family of the crew gathered throughout the weekend. But first, let's check in with Ashley Mitchum with more on this new information from the Coast Guard. Ashley.
And that's the important message right now. The Coast Guard says just because it's assuming the ship has sunk, the search for survivors is still very much active. We've learned today that so far the Coast Guard has searched 70,000 square nautical miles. That's larger than the state of Florida. The Coast Guard says now the focus is on the search for survivors and not search for the ship. They will change that strategy. That means any plans or that they have to use planes or helicopters, they will be flying lower to do that search. They'll be looking for the remaining lifeboat that still hasn't been spotted. Since only a handful of survival suits were found in the debris field, there's a hope that the crew was able to get on them. Here's an idea of what those suits look like. They help people stay upright and afloat. They also keep a person warm because hypothermia can still set in even in warm water. Search crews are hopeful because every person on board is well trained.
In search and rescue, there's an art and a science to it. The science is really just physiologically, how long can you survive in the water? In warm water conditions, that's about 4 to 5 days. Then you kind of look at the art of it as, these are trained mariners. They know how to properly abandon ship. They know how to survive in the water. So we take that into account as well.
As for what's next, the Coast Guard says that aircraft will be flying all day today. Overnight tonight, 6 boats will be out continuing the search on the water. Bruce.
Ashley, thank you. The El Faro had 33 crew members on board. Many of the families gathered here in Jacksonville at the Seafarers Union Hall on the south side. Some of the families have been very forthcoming, talking to News 4 Jax about their loved ones. Channel 4's Marcus White live on the south side. Marcus.
Well, Bruce, family members have been coming here throughout the morning. I can step out of the way and show you the cars in the parking lot. This parking lot was empty earlier today. They've been coming here to show their support for one another. We did speak to the uncle of one of the men on the ship. He says that his nephew was on that ship. He tells us that his niece got a phone call just before 9 this morning from the Coast Guard explaining what happened. That phone call was with other family members, and he says after he learned the information from that phone call, he was heartbroken. And back out here live, you can still see family members are here. We do want to let you know that Young says that his nephew has 2 kids and 1 on the way. He says that he's going to be relying on the support of others dealing with all this. Marcus White, Channel 4, the local station.
Marcus, thank you. We'll have more on the sinking of the El Faro starting at 5. Get the latest information anytime on news4jax.com.
News 4 Jax starts now.
Right now at noon, a roundtable going on between Donald Trump and farmers in West Palm Beach. Just one of many events the Republican candidate planned during his visit to Florida. He's expected to host another roundtable in St. Augustine this afternoon with first responders. In a few hours, the Donald will hold a campaign rally in St. Augustine. Meantime, early voting begins across the area. This is the Republican presidential nominee's 3rd trip to Florida. In August, he held a rally at the Veterans Memorial Arena. Last year, he spoke at the Landing. Florida is a key battleground state. You know, they've got 29 electoral votes. Political pundits say Trump will need to win Florida and Ohio if he has any chance of becoming the next president. Recent polls have Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton pulling ahead. Trump was campaigning over the weekend as well. This is video from his stop in Naples. Presidential hopeful urged voters to support him and help him elect Republican candidates. This comes after many Republican senators and congressmen up for re-election withdrew their endorsement of Trump. It follows a number of recent controversies. Right now, Hillary Clinton's running mate, Tim Kaine's in Miami. He's getting ready for an event there. This is video of some of the undercard speakers. He'll make a pitch for voters to get out and take part in early voting. He made a similar stop yesterday at the University of Florida. The White House, hopeful, made an appeal to students, encouraging them to get out and vote early. Right now, early voters are packing the polls, casting their ballots for the general election in advance of the big game. Early voting started for the majority of Floridians this morning. In this area, that includes Duval, Clay, Nassau, Putnam, Baker, Alachua, Bradford, and Flagler counties. Earlier voting in Union and Columbia counties begins Saturday. Channel 4's Ashley Harding's live from the Legends Center on the north side. You're in a different spot from where you were earlier. What are you seeing as far as, early turnout at this particular polling location?
Bruce, we're seeing a lot of traffic. A lot of people really have just driven up. As we've been standing here, they're ready to go in. They say they are ready to cast their ballot. They want to get it done because you never know what can happen on Election Day. There might be traffic or they might get held up at work. Who knows? And a lot of people are already following suit in that. We got an update from the Supervisor of Elections website. So far today, more than 5,200 people have early voted. We've been speaking to a lot of those voters. Take a look at this video right here. This is our second location. We've seen a lot of people. What we're hearing most from people, though, is that they just want to get it done and not wait till the last minute. Their words, not mine. These people tell us they've studied up on the issues. They've familiarized themselves with the proposed amendments and the county referendum. But the big issue is, of course, who should be the next president of the United States? The early voters we've talked to say this election, in their opinion, is one of the most important yet.
I think it's very important that we get this one right. I don't know that there's so many people voting for someone as opposed to voting against someone.
Everybody should encourage everybody to go out and vote. And for me, it's important for our children.
And voting in Florida lasts till November 5th, but each county supervisor of elections actually has the authority to extend that to the next day, November 6th. That actually is the case here in Duval County. Now, to find out about the other counties as well as the addresses of those polling locations in all the counties in Northeast Florida, just head to our website, news4jax.com. You'll see all that information right there at your fingertips. Reporting live on the north side, Ashley Harding, Channel 4, the local station.
For more on election 2016, visit news4jax.com. Our voting guide is under the Politics tab. Here you can learn about the candidates in your local races and research Florida's ballot amendments.
A Positively Jax story tonight. A Jacksonville man who first made a name for himself through wrestling, now making a name for himself through charity. He says he wants to give back to the city that gave him so much.
Elijah Burke is a commentator for Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. His character name is the Pope D'Angelo De Niro, and his act of kindness today is worthy of a pontiff.
The smiles. Gosh, the smiles on these people's faces when they realize that they're not being fed out of a soup kitchen.
Burke fed, clothed, and gave hygiene products to homeless and disadvantaged families in Jacksonville through his Love Alive charity. He got emotional while talking about the work. The event, now in its 4th year, was held at the Burger King on East State Street.
I have some people that believe in this cause. All of these individuals that you see back here, they have donated, and I tell people $1 helps, but if I have to come out here every year and feed myself, feed these individuals myself out of my pocket, I have no problem doing it.
Before his mission of giving back, Burke wasn't just known for his performance in the ring. He was a deputy with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office between 1998 and 2003 while working on a career as an amateur boxer. The former deputy wrestled for WWE from 2004 to 2008, taking part in WrestleMania 23. He's worked with TNA Wrestling off and on since 2009.
Obviously, a lot of people may remember Officer Burke fighting in Guns and Hoses, putting on the show as only I can.
Burke is quick to point out he hasn't forgotten where he came from and doesn't intend to anytime soon.
I grew up here. I shopped at that Winn-Dixie for years. As a kid, getting my cereal, I ate at this Burger King for years, and all of my old neighborhood right now is buried under the parking lot of the Alltel Stadium and the Jacksonville Coliseum. So I never forget where I come from. This is home, and I always want to give back whenever I will have the opportunity to. And fortunately enough for me, the last 4 years I've been able to do that.
And Burke says he wants to continue this cause in the years to come. He welcomes volunteers and donations to help the charity grow.